Edmund had been sent ahead by his Doom Company. The scout Joseph had gone west with the brute George, and he had travelled north. Passing house to house down the cobblestone pathways, he was on the hunt for any and all supplies his group could use to survive. They didn't usually split up. In fact, splitting up was an almost guaranteed death sentence in the world of the Creeping Death. It was late 1492, November if he had to guess. After an attack by a roaming band of eaters a few days ago, the knight, Sir Caspar, had sent Edmund, Joseph and the brute George to look for anything to help the wounded. They would have protested, but the Creeping Death seemed to gather where large groups lingered too long, and between Sir Caspar's greatsword and his two brutish bodyguards, the three of them thought better of it. The Creeping Death clung to his mid-thigh. It had risen rapidly in the last 2 years. When it first began, it barely covered a man's shoe, and now he wondered how long it would be before he was drowned in it like the rising waters of an ill-omened tide. The sack on his back weighed heavy, but part of the reason Sir Caspar had chosen to send him was that he was an exceptional scavenger. With grim determination and a keen eye for detail, he was the best they had at rooting out anything of worth. From weapons to armour to food and water, he knew the signs of it all, and he could tell if a thing was worth taking from over 100 paces away, one of the many benefits in these dark times of being a thief in his younger days. Above him, he spotted a nest on the roof of a nearby house. Throwing a grappling hook, he put his dagger between his teeth, tightened the sacks fastening on his back, and climbed. Eggs. He knew he'd find them. Somehow he always knew, drawn to salvage and loot and food like some kind of human divining rod. Carefully he picked up each of the eggs and wrapped them in cloth. Slowly he placed them in the large, deep pockets of a coat that, once tight-fitting, now hung from his lean and half-starved frame. As Edmund climbed back down, he noticed something move in the shadows across the street. He had thought that the small village was abandoned, but he was realizing now that he may have been wrong. He looked around the village square. The skeletal shacks of houses, their windows had been smashed by raiders. The burned-out husks of market stalls were arrayed around a fountain, long run dry and filled with sludge. The whole scene seemed to paint a grim vignette of the half-dead world he now lived in. Something punched into his left side, and Edmund grunted a stifled scream as he felt a rib crack. Bent double by the blow, he span, coughing blood into his helmet. A tall man in long black robes stood half in shadow. "I'll be taking those eggs," the man growled from behind his mask. As the would-be assassin took a step closer, Edmund lashed out with his dagger, and as the knife flew wild, it forced the man to step back or risk his face being slashed open. Edmund took off before the man could regain his footing. Running down the winding streets of the abandoned village, his assailant was right behind him. He was a fast runner, and this wasn't the first time he'd run from a fight with a blade in his side. Even now, as he could feel the warmth of his blood pooling his shirt by the blade catching on his ribs, he knew he would only be running a few moments longer. As fast as his attacker was, Edmund was willing to bet that even with the blade in his side, he was still the more nimble of the two. Vaulting over a garden wall made of loose stones and peppered with lichen, Edmund could hear the man behind him struggle to clear the hurdle, buying him some time. Rounding a corner, Edmund grabbed a clot of putrid earth from the stone wall of a tall house before darting through its door. As he ran up the second flight of stairs, he heard the attacker enter the building, just as Edmund entered the master bedroom. Thinking quickly, he climbed out of the window and onto the roof, just as the man was about to enter the room. Smearing his dagger with festering muck, Edmund saw the gloved hands of the man appear on the rim of the roof. Seeing another dagger grasped in the man's hands, it was clear he would have a fight on his hands when he made it to the top. He knew something his attacker did not, however. While the man may have two blades, Edmund's was poisoned. As the assassin climbed up onto the rooftop, Edmund struck him clean in the stomach as fast as a coiled viper. Stunned, the man glanced down at the blade stuck in his abdomen, and before he could return a strike of his own, Edmund kicked him from the roof. The crunch of bones breaking accompanied the heavy thud of the man hitting the ground. A fall from this height would normally break bones, but might not kill a man. The accompanying wheezing gasps told Edmund that the fall had ruptured the man's rudimentary breathing mask. As Edmund climbed back into the house exhausted, his failed assassin choked on the Creeping Death. With his wounds patched up a few hours later, Edmund lashed a rope around the feet of the man's corpse. Dragging the body behind him on a makeshift sled weighed down by his loot bag, he made his way back home. This body, befouled by the creeping death, could be left outside the camp. It would buy them a few days' grace with the eaters. Such was the harsh reality and brutal extortion economy of the world of 1490 Doom. The Scavengers are a fast-moving, highly skilled warrior for your Doom companies. These soldiers are the perfect choice for opening resource caches or securing grappling hooks to claim the high ground. Be careful though, a Scavenger is one of the least capable Doom warriors in combat with a combat skill of 5+. This means that their one attack will be difficult to pull off, and with a defense rating of 4+, they only have an average chance to fend off a counterattack. Where a Scavenger shines best is when players utilise their surroundings to the Scavenger's advantage. Once per round, a Scavenger is able to re-roll a failed skill check, and while they must accept the second result, their skill of a 3+ means that they are one of the best at opening resource caches or laying grappling hooks to claim the high ground. If a Scavenger is cornered, they can lash out with a dirty dagger. If this lands, it will ignore the defense of their opponent and stun them for a turn. While they may not be the best fighters, Scavengers are a true asset to their Doom companies. This is especially true for a player looking to claim victory via the high ground or claiming the most resources. Will you be including a Scavenger in your Doom companies? Let me know in the comments below. To learn more about the world of 1490 Doom, click the video link to your left to discover the settings timeline. Alternatively, to catch up on the latest videos on the channel, click the link to your right. For discounts on your hobby supplies, check out my affiliate links below, and please like, subscribe, share a favourite video with a friend, or become a channel member. With that, thank you for watching, and I will see you all soon.